All right, Scavengers, welcome to a bonus episode 46. May the 4th be with you. Should be a worldwide holiday, guys. We've got a fun little show today. We're not going to have a full episode like we normally do, but there's so many news goodness out there that we wanted to cover today before we hit our next episode. And if you've noticed here, we've got a fuller panel than normal. Obviously, Chris is joining me, TC as well. But we brought in a heavy hitter. We've got Roy. We've been trying to get Roy back on the podcast for a while. And we had to go all the way back into the archives, Roy, to episode 17. And you happen to be the first ever guest that we had on the podcast.
That's awesome. 17. That's like 30 episodes ago. So that's a year.
It was about a little over a year ago. Yeah. March last year, I believe. So it's been some time. Obviously, this isn't, it hasn't been that long since you've been on. You've been on the Assembles. You've been on Rogue 16. And as everybody knows, you're kind of our Alfred in the chair. You cover all of the cover art. You save our butts every time out with our lackluster photography, and you make it shine. So thank you, and help us with show planning and stuff. So definitely glad to get you involved. And I guess I have to say, I mean, you're already past May the 4th. You're on to Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah. It's 12:15 here, so that's no longer May the 4th be with you.
And I know the chat is already glad to see Roy back on video and the airwaves. So this will also hit our podcast stream as well as a bonus episode. But guys, wow, what a busy, fun day. And it started before, I guess I didn't really go to bed until after midnight Eastern time this morning. So some of these news items that we're going to talk about, we've had a little bit more time to think about them, and we got even more goodness this morning. But Chris, I mean, we knew that May the 4th was already going to be big. The Clone Wars finale aired. No spoilers. And if anybody is in the chat right now, tried to avoid talking about any spoilers with that. There's a lot of people that have not had the chance to watch it. We've got the Mandalorian behind the scenes. I can't remember the name is escaping right off the top of my head, Chris, but
Gallery.
Star Wars Gallery, Mandalorian, an 8-part documentary that, oh man, I can't wait to watch that. I'll probably watch it later tonight. And even more news, Taika Waititi, IG-11 himself, and the director of Chapter 8 of The Mandalorian, one of the best chapters in my opinion, is going to join up with Christy Wilson Cairns to pen the new Star Wars film. And they haven't confirmed the date, Chris, but it looks like it's going to be 2022. So we got a little bit of time between the next film. I think that's going to get filled in with a lot of streaming Disney Plus content.
It's always nice to get, a tidbit of news that was, people were speculating, but it was not necessarily expected. And it's Taika's awesome. I love pretty much everything he does. With Thor Ragnarok, and then the Star Wars stuff, and then his own movies that he's written, like Jojo Rabbit. I mean, he's an Academy Award winner at this point, so. Just a great choice to helm this next Star Wars movie, whatever it could be. I mean, it's crazy. The possibilities are endless as far as that goes. Be interesting over the next few months to hear information coming out about that process. Yep.
Are there any details on the topic at all? Any rumors?
Not even that. It looks like they didn't even go as far as saying it's any kind of a trilogy. So, I mean, I guess Roy, to me, that means this could be, a standalone, whether it's within what we know or it could be something entirely new.
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that it was a standalone movie from Taika, and I don't remember her name, but I believe she's from 1917. That movie. I've not seen a lot of movies from her, but I love Taika, so that's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. So lots of goodness out there. Obviously, Clone Wars wrapping up is that's been on my mind today. And again, we said it. No spoilers here. Hopefully, everybody has a chance to check that out. So we're gonna forego the typical format that we've had, Chris, for 46 episodes. This, if anything, this probably resembles more of episode 000 than anything, because we're gonna skip right into the news here. And we got some really surprising announcements. The rumors that I've heard, was some of the things that we've seen previously. Bespin Han, I know they showed last year at San Diego Comic-Con a 2.0 version of Bespin Luke. There's clamoring for C-3PO, another version of Chewbacca, but I guess, guys, we'll start in order of that they dropped and kind of go from there. So Roy's got the images here, but let's just get right into it. Chris, you are the vintage collector out of us. Never in my wildest imagination. I know Boba Fett and I know The Mandalorian's pretty hot right now in terms of fandom.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a repaint variant of Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back, but his vintage collection colors, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Hasbro did a exclusive for New York Toy Fair, I believe it was, in the 6-inch Black Series Boba Fett, kind of in the vintage Kenner paint scheme. And to get this, I mean, I never expected it whatsoever. The coloring and everything is really, it just harkens back to those Kenner days with the special mail away offer for that famed rocket firing Boba Fett, and then later changed to a non-rocket firing Boba Fett, and this just brings back a lot of nostalgia for so many people, especially collectors that were back in that day. Remember saving up their proofs of purchase to mail away for this figure, and I think it looks great. The packaging, the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes packaging, looks really good. And it's funny, I saw some jokes like, wonder if people are going to send these in for grading and get them sealed up in acrylic. And but for me, this was a dopo for me. I'm planning on having a Boba Fett shelf dedicated for just his items. I've got a vintage boxed Slave 1 from Empire Strikes Back. I've got the original Kenner 12-inch Boba Fett complete. So I think having it doesn't really fit in with another lineup. I mean, with other than Boba Fett, all the different variations. But yeah, I'm going to get him, have him on the shelf with, bookending with the vintage Kenner 12-inch one, and looking forward to it. How about you guys?
So, Chris, before I shoot it over to Roy here, I forgot to mention some of the stats. So obviously this is in a new subline of Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary collection. And the MMS number is 571. The retail price going right now on Sideshow is $255. Obviously released today on May the 4th be with you. This is going to be a quick turnaround, Roy. It looks like Hot Toys is estimating Q3, Q4 of this year, and Sideshow's taking that one step further, Roy, and saying that this could arrive July to September of this year.
Oh wow! Oh, that's really fast for Hot Toys nowadays to release something. I think it's partly because of the repaint, of course, because I think it's just your ESB version with different colors, which I really like. I've not. I saw it this morning and I thought that's. I didn't recognize him from anything. I have no affiliation with the old lines you guys collected. Mm-hmm. But this is it really. I really like the colors, but it's going to be tough to pass on this one for me. It's just and the packaging with the old school look. It's something I've never seen before, but I really like it. It's all
absolutely.
So
Steve, what about you?
Yeah, This one's interesting because if I'm going for a straight up Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, it's obviously not this one. It's the sorry, you hear stuff in the background, but it's the standard Empire Strikes Back version, deluxe or standard. But this one, because it's that 40th anniversary, there's no way I'm taking this out of the package. That's just me. I would just get the box. I would put the box on the shelf, have like a little sub collection of the anniversary figures, and just keep them in there like that. The fact that you can see the Boba Fett figure through the window, you can see the jetpack, you can see the pistol. It's a great offering, especially for like an anniversary. This is what you want to see, in my opinion. You don't just want to see standard releases. Having said that, I'm on the fence, but for everyone who wants one, I mean, this is a great token to have to celebrate the anniversary.
Yeah, TC, I'm probably in the same boat as you. I have the Empire Strikes Back one because I purchased yours, and I don't know. Like, I had the animated version. I really liked it. I really kind of, not to guilt trip Mark here, but I kind of regret selling it just because of the secondary market for that one is just skyrocketed. It's a double retail figure at this point, and almost impossible to get. And to me, for having one Boba Fett, and it's more of the movie realistic line, if I had the animated one still, I would consider this. Like UTC, I'm kind of on the fence. I think it looks great. I think it's a good kind of variant to have, as you mentioned, of like having something from the 40th anniversary. The packaging, I will agree, looks cool, and we'll talk about the packaging with another figure as well here in a second. I just don't know. It doesn't fit in with like the rest of what I do, and I don't necessarily obviously I love Mandalorians because I'm going all in on the Mandalorian line, but Boba just isn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really torn with this one. I have yet to pre-order it, and I'm still. Now this is an exclusive. I think that's one thing that we failed to mention. If you do get this, it has to be through Sideshow or somebody that deals directly with Sideshow. You won't find this one at a normal retailer like Big Bad Toy or any of the smaller retailers that we've tended to favor on this podcast in particular, TC.
Yeah, here's the thing is that they're dropping this, and then within 5 months, they're going to release it. 3 to 5 months is what the plan is. That's tough for me, it's tough to put that in the budget because there's so many other things that are coming. And I'm on the fence already, so I don't want to buy it and then feel like, oh, should I have done that? When I know there are figures like, Commander Cody, Mandalorian version 1, maybe the Mandalorian version 2 that I know are coming, that I want more. That's the problem I'm having with this figure. If this was a 2021, 2022, I would think about it a little bit differently. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
And Mark's in the house, and he instantly joined on, and he heard my guilt trip. So sorry, Mark, about that. Lots of good chat. I mean, gosh, up to 41 live viewers already on a random Monday at a really odd time. It makes me really start to reconsider the time that we record this podcast, guys. Especially if it means we could get Roy on more often. I think that would be a win-win for everybody.
We'll see going forward. Again, coming back to this Boba, I think it just makes sense for between the anniversary, and I know Boba's getting mad at Bryan here
again. Daily, weekly occurrence.
I know, right? Between the anniversary and all the other companies doing the 40th anniversary for Empire packaging with the racing stripes and everything. I think it's a great figure, and I did a payment plan on it just to break it up a little bit. But again, I think I was not expecting this, but I'll take it.
So I know this will be good to do this kind of bonus episode. So our next episode wasn't going to be super bloated with tons and tons of news, because I think we're going to start seeing quite a bit now. It seems like the floodgates have kind of opened, and this month, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're really leading up, Chris, to that actual 40th anniversary of Empire. And there's a lot of things that people are clamming for. And, Star Wars is definitely the hot commodity right now. If this was 365 days ago, we would have been talking about all Marvel at this point, but now it's
Flip-flop.
Star Wars. And Nathan's quickly reminding me here, it's not just a normal Monday, it's Star Wars. Of course it is. May the 4th be with you, everybody just tuning in. Anybody else have any final thoughts about this Boba before we head over to talk about Darth Vader?
I was just going to say, what do we think as far as this guy potentially, it's not a con exclusive. It is a Sideshow exclusive. Do we think this is going to be one that goes quickly? Do you think it's going to hang around for a while?
Well, if it's such a quick turnaround time, you go buy that movie promo Spider-Man from Far From Home. That one sold out pretty quickly. So it might be worth it to put in a pre-order if you really want it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no guarantees, of course, but I could see this following the path of the animated version. Just the entire package of the figure.
Mm-hmm.
The packaging.
Was that one Sideshow exclusive or no?
No,
I don't.
It was
believe
standard.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, that was available everywhere.
Okay.
So I think TC, you bring up an interesting point, and I think unfortunately where we're really strong advocates for trying to order through retailers without having an NRD and trying to make the best decisions you can. I think unfortunately the nature of this release is you're probably going to have to decide pretty quickly on how you feel about it. I guess my final advice for everybody would be, if you think that you'll have even 1% guilt potentially of missing this because you think it'll be around, I think TC, you brought up a really interesting point. Could this be movie promo Spider-Man? It could, but then it could also be concept art Captain America that has sat around. Now, I think one thing that's going to be beneficial to this release before we kind of the final thought here is Sideshow is limiting it to one per person. And what they've done for other figures, and I've kind of had this happen where if you try to reorder a figure you've done previously and there's a limit of it, they actually know that you've ordered it previously. So it's not like you can order one and then go back in and do a separate order. Under your account, they will know if you've ordered this or not. So the fact that they're limiting it to one per person, I think is going to suppress the scalpers, if that's kind of a dirty word that we usually don't mention all that much, but I don't know. I certainly, I know I keep having final thoughts here, but I wouldn't pick this up for the purpose of reselling it. It feels dirty. Mm-hmm. I think if you get it because you love it and you want it in your collection, whether you're a vintage collector. And I had a quick phone conversation with Chris Benware earlier today, and he was just gushing about Boba Fett here. And obviously he's a vintage collection person. If you've seen him on any live streams on this channel and on Rogue 16, he's got tons of carded figures. So obviously this is a figure release that speaks to somebody like a collector like that. I'm on the fence.
Well, I think TC's point about keeping it sealed and you're able to display it also. I mean, there's nothing Zach's jumping in. Our star
see if he calls you an angel, Roy.
Yeah.
He's done it before.
Yes. So it's one of those figures that people may not get. They may not be posing that much. They may be keeping it in the box and on display. Just I just had to remind him. He's messaging me, and I'm like, "Are you watching us?" And he's like, "Oh shoot, I forgot." Yes, there it is, Sweet Angel. I think they have a T-shirt now on T-Bone Mike.
I'm glad you decided to join us tonight, Roy.
Oh wow.
We need more Roy in our lives here.
That's one of the feedback that we get a lot is they need more. There's people, the fans have been clamoring for more Roy. So
for a stumbling Dutchman to join the live stream. I think for this figure, the most important thing for me to see is as well that Hot Toys can produce this in 6 months' time with all the things going on. So that really says something about what they can do in this current time. So I'm very happy to see them ramping up some stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Great discussion, guys. Let's shift gears and let's talk about the other kind of surprising release. And this, guys, has been a figure that the secondary market, the Darth Vader from Empire Strikes Back, and they don't have the MMS number right in front of me, but guys, this figure sat forever, and it had free shipping on Sideshow, and you could still get it to earlier this year, and it just doubled in price. And there's some things that aren't super great about this figure. I think in general, a lot of collectors that have it really enjoy it. There's a couple nitpicky things like the helmet kind of falling off. And I know like Vader aficionados out there it's not completely accurate, but I think overall it's a really solid release. So it's kind of interesting, Roy, that this was a pick to do essentially a reissue, but not only is it a reissue, it's a repackage in this similar 40th anniversary packaging that we just talked about with the Vintage Colors Boba Fett. So again, this is another quick turnaround. We're looking at Q3, Q4 on the Hot Toys estimate. Sideshow is still saying July to September on this one. Obviously, they've just recently released this figure. Came out in 2018, so it's not really that old. The retail price is $285. I think the original was $267. And so I don't know if you're basically paying for inflation plus really cool packaging. And again, this is the second figure in this subline, Roy, Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary. Final thought before I kick it over to you, Roy. I have to say, although I do dig the vintage collection style boxes with this, I'm also a big fan of somebody that tries to keep all the boxes in my basement. The fact that they may be trying to reduce the footprint of the box so there's not so much extra space that we have to worry about as collectors when we ship them, and storage space when we put them down. So Roy, Darth Vader, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I was very happy to see this one come back because I didn't get it the first time because I didn't have the DX07 back then. And I had the Rogue One version, which is, in my opinion, still the best version out there because of that epic scene and just the completeness of the figure. But I'm definitely getting this one. I missed out on it, and I really like him to complement the DX7 setup. It's just a good figure. And I was actually waiting for the Return of the Jedi version, since there was a quarter scale version, of course. But this one coming out just reminds me of that might be further away in the future than I would like it to be. So that's it's a great figure. I watched the comparison from just in the afternoon, and there's so much difference between this and the Rogue One version. They really complement each other.
Yeah, I like Roy. I also kind of skipped on it, although it was available forever. Although I did purchase it. I never opened it. I think I sold it to Chris B. And when I tried to reorder this myself, Sideshow said, nope, you've already ordered this before. So shame on me, but may have lucked into this. So TC, what are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I like the release. You know, this is obviously Hot Toys is looking at the secondary market. It's timed perfectly, 40th anniversary. I want this figure if I'm going to get it because of Hoth, the Hoth scenes. I rather than Bespin. I know everyone wants it for Bespin, but I enjoy Vader in Hoth, and I have, Hoth Leia. I'd like there to be a Hoth Luke and Hoth Han eventually, but that's the draw for me, more so than Bespin. But again, the packaging, man. It's tough to take it out of the package. I never had to worry about that with Hot Toys before. With that bland shoebox, or just you could never see the figure and it was not technically sealed. Hot Toys figures aren't really sealed. Even Iron Man figures are not really sealed. But this one looks like it's going to be sealed with a sticker. You can see it through the window again, and I don't know. I'm not going to get two. I don't even know if I'm going to get one. But I might have to keep it in the box as like a special release from Hot Toys. I'm hoping the future ones, if they do any more, come in normal packaging. Just give me the normal shoebox.
I wouldn't bet on that because I feel like this is going to get milked, especially this year for all the Empire stuff. I too slept on this figure, let it sit. I had already had the Vader from the Tarkin 2-pack, and I was going to hold out for Return of the Jedi one. And then our awesome friend Raul made me an offer I couldn't refuse on the Rogue One, and then now this releases, and I'm like, crap, I think I need this figure too. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But yeah, these promo images again, like I guess I didn't really check it out too much, even though it was available forever. But I mean, some of these images look awesome, and if we expect a Bespin Luke 2.0 figure coming soon, man, it would be hard to not get that duo. And I really like TC your idea of doing like Hoth scenes with Vader. That would be great too. But it's Vader classic. If you don't have one, probably jump on this one. And then also, if you are going to go with this line and kind of go with that old school collector mentality of keeping it in the box and doing a shelf of, all these figures on display, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that too, because it would look pretty sweet. It would be a nice difference or a breakup in the display.
Gosh, guys, nothing says you're well off to leave a hot toy in a box and just display it without opening. I mean, wow. First world problems here. That's all I'm thinking about when you guys are talking about that. But anyways, yeah. I saw Gare Bear. I don't know if he couldn't join us live today, but I think he typically will say this in the group, and I completely agree with that. I'm all for reissues, especially when the secondary market gets out of control and people miss a figure that they really want to have in their collection. And he was saying that he was glad that everybody would have a second crack at this because of that secondary market. And it's a figure that just only recently sold out. It's not like this figure was like DX07 Roy when that came out 8 years ago. And that was the cover art for today. We're not going to review that, unfortunately, but man, that still holds up well after all this time.
I mean, and like you said, Bryan, it's almost like it was just on waitlist. It's not like the figure has
still
been
waitlist open, isn't it?
Oh, it's still waitlist open?
I don't know. I just
not to me.
Well, I
Denied.
had.
It's
I had
also.
that,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I had the waitlist locked in for Bryan just in case, and I was like, I'm gonna cancel that because this is happening. But
it's iconic, man. It's Darth Vader. They're going to release Darth Vaders. That's just going to happen. If it's ESB or Return of the Jedi, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. It's going to continue.
Yeah. Any final thoughts about Vader here, guys? I know I'm looking at it, and although I'm going to get reminded of a few times here because it's Star Wars Day, may the 4th be with you, but over 50 viewers. We haven't topped 50 viewers in a while. I don't know if ever. People want their hot toys.
I know they do.
They want the Dutchman. It's all Roy.
Secret weapon over here.
I think that's what's happening right now. Is everybody's quickly finding out that they're scooting over to the live stream right now because they've heard that the rumor is in fact true that Roy has made another appearance.
Secret appearance. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, guys. Final news item before we call it a bonus episode here. We'll be back on our normal Wednesday next week, not this week, but there's just so much goodness to talk about. Guys, this is what almost broke the internet this morning. Obviously, we're excited about the Clone Wars wrapping up. We finally have a conclusion, a proper conclusion to the series. Again, no spoilers. And some speculation, and I think we talked about it last time out, guys, with Into the Spider-Verse, and are they really going to consider more animated stuff? And here we go, the Clone Wars. Roy, the secondary market for the Sideshow Troopers, you talk about double retail. I mean, those Rex, the Captain Rex and Echo and Fives, the ARC Troopers and stuff, quadruple in value. 4x, 5x, Roy.
Yeah, that just collapsed after this picture. This is incredible. I would have never figured out this that they brought out this Rex Rex version. I don't recognize the helmet yet because I'm not caught up with the Clone Wars, so I don't know if it's a spoiler thing or if they end up going with that helmet for him. Because I really hope they bring back his original helmet for the complete figure.
Yeah, this is from the trailer, and I guess it's not really a spoiler, but he does not actually wear this helmet, so you can rest assured that you'll get the Rex that you know and love. That's all I'll say. And that wasn't from this recent episode; it was actually from a couple episodes ago. So it's I know that you're going to do a rewatch once it's all wrapped up and come back, but. I mean, good stuff here. So, guys, it's probably hard to read on the caption here on the stream, but the caption for what Hot Toys did is obviously you're just seeing the clones. For everybody on the audio stream here, you're seeing with essentially the heads chopped off here. With from the neck down, you see Rex and then the 501st Troopers behind him. And go ahead, they've been waiting to see you. The final season of the Star Wars, the Clone Wars, has fans elated around the world. Now, Hot Toys will continue to build up the excitement for Star Wars fans and introduce highly detailed collectible figures from this hit animated series. Stay on the lookout. There are more surprises coming, Chris.
Oh, man, literally goosebumps right now. Just even thinking about that. I know it's kind of funny, but yeah, this is just like kind of a mind-blowing kind of tease here. Rex is one of my favorite characters, definitely from the Clone Wars, and obviously his allegiance to a certain force using Togruta. I think just the possibilities of what can come from this. It started with Commander Cody, being put out there, and the way that they can use it's with the clones. Anybody that collected clones 3 3/4 inch back in the day, from Attack of the Clones all the way through the Clone Wars Hasbro series and stuff. I mean, there's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, all different variations. The big thing is army building, like Aeromeister was saying right here. They can just start producing different variations left and right. And I think I'm definitely going to go broke, because it's just, it's just classic prequel trilogy era. Nothing really says prequel trilogy more than, Clone Troopers. But I'm psyched. And if this means that we get an animated version of Ahsoka in her last outfit there,
wow.
Oh my God, like that's what I want. I mean, yes, the possibilities of what's to come down the line with live action is awesome, but to me, the animated visuals of Ahsoka, and I just think that would be just amazing. And come on, Hot Toys. If it never happens, it never happens. But I can certainly dream.
Howard's a big fan.
Yeah.
For sure. So I don't know if anybody caught it, but on the Star Wars social media pages this morning, they kind of did a 3-minute or 3-minute kind of video that to put together of kind of highlights. But not only was it to tie in the Skywalker saga, but you saw Clone Wars, you saw Rebels, you saw Resistance, you saw The Mandalorian. I mean, Star Wars is Star Wars at this point. There's a lot of different mediums and stuff like that. So to have a mixed collection where you're worried about only having the movies or anything, I think this tells me that they could do the clones. And even if they do them in a realistic format, or heaven forbid we don't actually get head sculpts of them and it's just the helmets, I will take it. I mean, we're getting ready, Roy, to get Commander Cody. They've obviously already got a lot of the base armor. They could do a lot of tweaking. And one of the reasons, like Chris just mentioned, with a lot of 3 3/4 collectors from the modern era, once all the toys came out for the Clone Wars back in 2008, 2009, 2010, etc., it was really easy for a company like Hasbro to pump out a lot of different toys by just doing repaints. And I mean, Roy, you've got Rex, you've got the 501st. You could get Commander Cody's 442nd Division. I don't know if I said that right. Obviously, Ahsoka's division here. The 212. I mean, there's so many different battalions that they could just do. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. And I know I see Aero Maestro is making the point, Roy, that I was trying to make is clones could be the next Iron Man / Spider-Man for Hot Toys. People love clones. They love them.
They love troopers. They love clones. They, it was established back in the day, with Kenner army building, just having tons of troopers in to make scenes. And I just think, I think that this is, I think it's going to happen. I think maybe not the super deep dives that people really want, but I think we'll get at least, a handful of different clone variations, whether it be from the movies or from Clone Wars. And I think Hot Toys is going to knock them out of the park.
Yeah, we'll be very curious to see how this matches up with Cody as well on the shelf. I've not put images together yet to see if the battle damage matches up in terms of style, or I'm very curious about that head sculpt and the helmet, how that's look, if they make him a realistic version or an animated version, because that could be key for that shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And TC, it's kind of funny because you talk about the animated, and when the clone troopers were in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, there was no actors in that armor. Those were all CGI. So I guess to do a comparison between the CGI in those movies versus kind of like what they did in the Clone Wars, especially this final season, the animation has been just top notch.
Yeah, TC. I mean, I know you're getting into Clone Wars. What are your thoughts about them going with, stuff like this over some of the other figures that they've either teased or, people want?
I mean, I may not have watched this series like many of the super fans, but I can tell clones are popular. I mean, it's going to be like Iron Man. It might even be more. So all the times that all the Star Wars say another Iron Man, I think that the clones, they might go even deeper. I mean, I don't know how many different variations there are. But it just seems like the way Hot Toys likes to operate, if they don't include head sculpts, it's just even easier for them to make more clones faster in larger quantities with less headwind to get the actor's likeness. Or I guess it's animated, so I guess I don't know how that would work, but you don't even have to sculpt anything. So,
and Mark here, Mark's talking about buying 2 501st troopers to flank Anakin, and he's going to kill the youngling. And I don't think he's talking about killing a couple beers here with youngling. It's
nice positive vibe.
So who's the most popular clone?
Oh, you're looking at him.
Yeah,
Rex.
Captain Rex.
Yeah. When you're done with the Clone Wars, you'll love him. There's no way about it. He's incredible. Have you watched Rebels as well, or?
I have seen a few episodes of Rebels.
Yeah, he's in that as well.
Yeah, Roy's absolutely right, and I'm trying to tiptoe around talking about anything too much that could be construed as any kind of a spoiler, but this really isn't too much of a spoiler. I think we can kind of see it after 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, especially with the prolonged break between 6 and 7, and the Clone Wars are saved. But really, at the end of the day, you saw a lot of the big heavy hitters that appeared through the movies and the prequels in there. It's essentially the main characters of the Clone Wars is Rex and it's Ahsoka, and I can say that pretty unequivocally. And it's very likely we're going to get troopers. Whether we get Ahsoka is another thing. That will break the internet, Chris.
Yeah, that would. Oh my god! And like,
there's a lot of non-hot toy collectors that would then jump in to get an Ahsoka.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Ahsoka market, and you know better than any of us, Chris, is like everything instantly sells out. Whether it's Gentle Giant doing busts or anything. I mean, God, what was it? A couple days ago, you were thinking about buying a an Ahsoka kit for more than
Yeah.
a hot toy and a half.
Didn't even include the figure.
Didn't even include the figure. I would be sending you Justin Timberlake right now. And I'm
Yeah.
really mad. I didn't mention at the top. I had to do a different setup tonight. I'm back in my old spot, but I don't have dual monitors. I really wanted to. Zach gave us a alternate logo for tonight. Was Justin Timberlake with our logo on it. It's going to be May. And it would have just been perfect, Chris. It would have been perfect.
I know. Well, it'll probably get an appearance next episode.
Oh, it's definitely going on episode 47.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, there's something with Ahsoka's products. So much of her stuff is either limited edition, limited run, exclusive, whatever it may be, and the stuff just sells out. I mean, her Gentle Giant 1/6 scale bust, I paid $140 for it, and one sold on eBay I think a few weeks ago for $1,300.
Oh gosh.
What?
And like, it's crazy. I mean, that's limited to 750. It sold out within an hour of pre-order back in 2018. And
You ordered that from the side of the road.
yeah,
I think I should get a
I know.
finder fee on that. I
I
told you
know,
about
right?
it. You stopped. You like squealed to the
I
side of the road
did.
on a highway so that you could order that thing.
I know. I'm driving down past Lake Winnipesaukee up in New Hampshire, and I'm like, screeching halt. Brian's texting me, "Oh, it's up. I got to get it." And yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I swear, if it's like a con exclusive or something like that, I mean, Hot Toys is gonna be hearing from a lot of people. But it's best to have it a normal release if they do it. And even like Gentle Giant just did this 332nd Ahsoka Division Clone Trooper 1/6 scale bust, and it's limited too, but it didn't quite have the it didn't quite have the demand that Ahsoka had, but it's still a nice compliment. And I mean,
So based on what you're saying, if a lot of stuff's limited, would Hot Toys potentially have that same limitation?
no, that's what I'm thinking.
If so, I would just buy it day one immediately.
Yeah.
What if she comes with 2 outfits? Yeah, what if
I know.
every third company does a custom outfit for her? That's
Chris will order 5.
I know.
yeah. I need those 5
Well,
as well.
it's like you've got this she's got 2 outfits for season 7, but she essentially had 2 main outfits throughout the first 6 seasons.
Elvis in the house. Oh, that's funny.
It's gonna happen. So, and now we're just getting we're asking for a lot. It's a DX version, whatever, wishful thinking.
Yeah,
One-
don't tempt us.
But again, just coming back to the possibility of clones, I think it makes a lot of people happy. I think their Hot Toys is going to have a hit with these clones. If they start releasing them, I can see con exclusives. I can see all different sorts of things that they'll do. Hasbro does it all the time, and it's right up Hot Toys alley.
Yeah.
And there's still
Go ahead, Roy.
still lots more other main characters, like a General Kenobi or a General Skywalker. That would be incredible as well.
Yeah, I know.
It's not just Ahsoka, of course.
Exactly. So I think I forget who was mentioned in the chat, but yeah, if they did like just the trio, Ahsoka, aside from the clones, Ahsoka, Kenobi, Anakin, kind of in an animated form.
Mortis 3-pack, maybe.
Oh man, come on! Now you're again.
Look at your heartstrings here, Chris. Guys, I don't think we've ever spent just 45 minutes on news before, but this is a nice little bonus episode, a way to freeform. It was great, Roy, to get you on. We could probably keep speculating to the cows come home and till Roy actually needs to finally go to bed here, because it's now almost 1 o'clock in the Netherlands right now. So I think we'll cut the conversation off here. There's going to be more to come. we'll get actually more news. I know we're just purely speculating about an image that Hot Toys showed us. I mean, they've showed us things before like Shazam and all those other things that ended up being nothing. The demand and the popularity of I haven't seen one bad thing about this post, and I'm sure somebody said something bad, but I didn't see it. And people generally love the Clone Wars and the clones, and the possibilities could be endless. They could only give us a few, but if they only give us a few, I will take it.
Absolutely.
All right, final thoughts, guys.
Until next year, Roy.
No, we're gonna get him back on.
No, yeah, much sooner.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, and I think you spiked our viewership, so definitely we'll have to have you on more than we'll accommodate your schedule versus you trying to accommodate ours. Good stuff, guys. So we'll do quickly do the plugs like we normally do, and we'll include Roy's signature sign off as well, because maybe we'll unfire Chris from this episode. So we've got our website, 6scavengers.com. I've been putting in a lot of work onto the pages and stuff. All the Star Wars figures are now current. There's now 133 as of a couple days ago. There's only 131. And working through DC and Marvel, and I think I'm up to like 2017 or so, and working backwards. It's just harder to find information out there, but hopefully collectors find it to be, a valuable resource, not only for current pre-orders, but then also figures to research release dates and whatnot. Obviously, you have the YouTube channel if you're watching us live, and if you're downloading afterwards, it's really fun to join us and be part of the show within the show with the audience out there. We have our TeePublic store, a lot of those designs from Roy, so thank you, Roy, for that. We have our Facebook page. We're on Instagram and Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, and 6scavengers.libsyn.com if you want to grab the RSS feed and throw it into your podcast catcher of choice. Good stuff, guys.
Very good stuff. Love talking, especially when we've got some really meaty news stuff to talk about. And there looks like there'll be more stuff going on the channel tonight, or on the group. So stay tuned to some other. I think Matt and Chris B and others are doing some unboxings and discussions too. So check that stuff out.
More content to come.
So what does it take for us to come back on the air tomorrow? What's it going to take?
Ahsoka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Besides that,
have an agreement, unspoken agreement. If Ahsoka drops, or the day that she ever drops, we'll drop what we can. As long as we're not on like holiday or vacation or anything, we'll make an attempt to not have to wait until the next episode drops. We'll make it happen, even if it's 3:00 in the morning for us on the East Coast.
Sounds good.
That would be pretty awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in live, and Chris and then Roy, bring us home.
What was it? I'm Batman?
I'm Batman? No. No, wrong podcast.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, may the force be with you. And then you said,
always.